What's up, guys? You guys having a good RTX? Yeah? You ready to see some stupid shit? Yeah, you're the right panel. All right, I got a couple guys that I'd like to ask come out here, if that's okay with you guys. They're insane, they're geniuses, and they might have some issues that could be medicated. Please welcome to the stage, Chris Damaris and Aaron Marquis.
Thank you, John. A lovely introduction.
Yeah, I've been practicing it all day.
I want to try everyone. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Wow.
So, how's the weekend been so far?
That's good.
Who is so tired they don't know where they are?
Us too.
I don't know.
So what do you got there, John?
I apparently have questions. Given to me by an anonymous source.
I scribbled down a bunch of questions for John that were.
Yeah.
So we actually asked for to kind of help, I guess, steer the direction of this thing. We asked for questions from
The internet.
site, the internets, and I have a few of them jotted down. And if you can read my handwriting, you can go.
I can
through them.
try.
And plus your own questions, John. You're here because you were available, and we wanted.
You guys are too kind.
Oh, you're great too. And
Yeah. What is your perfect date?
Well, it's going to be at the beach, for sure.
With
Barbara
Aaron.
should definitely be there.
On my date or yours?
It depends. Am I there? Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
All right. That
It'd be
sounds
quite
good.
a lovely date.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Okay. So you guys do acts in social disorder that can be considered questionable, maybe even illegal.
Illegal.
Maybe. Have you guys ever had to run anything by like legal or a lawyer before you do it?
Every
single
time.
thing we've ever done.
Have they ever said no?
No, I
but
mean,
they give advice.
yeah. You'd be surprised. I mean, in Texas, almost anything kind of goes as far as. It's weird.
Let's hear it for Texas. Come on.
Yeah, let's hear it for Texas. In California and other places, there are all these laws that aren't in Texas. So we always run things by lawyers because Matt would be very unhappy if we didn't.
The only thing, so kind of the origin story of social disorder was me and Aaron were talking about YouTube.
We were in the gym. Don't forget.
Just working out.
Working out.
And we were talking about YouTube and like what makes a good show, and we're talking about how there's so many like prank shows on the internet that they don't have any substance, and really they seem more mean-spirited. Thank you.
It's probably yours. I don't know.
Seem more mean-spirited, and we were like, well, there's something that we could do with that.
Well, the joke was always on the people that they were around. It was that, that classic, it's just a prank, bro. It's just a prank. And the bystander is pummeling them, and rightly so, because they probably did something that was pretty awful. And, some of those are funny. But for the most part, we were like, God, it's mean-spirited, and we didn't want to do that.
So we were like, well, can we experiment with a show where we embarrass each other in public, and we don't really, it's a competition where we don't really know what's going on. And so we were like, well, we're not really sure what this show is. We should just do like a test and kind of see what happens.
Our test was the body bag episode.
So we went on, it was the same week, we went on Amazon and bought a couple body bags.
As you do.
By the way, our Amazon purchase history is completely screwed up by this point. I mean,
You guys should have brought a screen cap of like what's recommended to you right now.
we
get a
can't,
lot of
we
weird
can't show it because of what's recommended. It's just like, do you want this blurred out thing here, or do you want this blurred
I
out
noticed
thing?
you've been buying sex dolls and bleach and
and shovels and
no, and so we bought some body bags, and then we were like,
How much was a body bag?
really cheap actually.
It's only like $30
$30
each or
yeah.
something. Yeah.
And then so we called a couple friends, and we were like, hey, what are you doing on Saturday? We kind of want to try and experiment, and just shoot it and see what happens. And so we had a bunch of friends show up, and
Not knowing what they were really going to do.
they didn't really know. We were like, we're going to do this thing where it's kind of like with body, and they showed up and we're like, we explained what they're doing, like, what the hell are you guys thinking?
Well, one of our buddies who shoots a lot of them, his name's Jason.
Oh, there he is. He's running up there.
Jason, we should get him up here. We said, yes, give him a hand.
Look at him running. He's
Oh,
shooting this
man.
right now.
We said, Jason, on Saturday, we're going to try and drag us in body bags from my apartment to the river. And he said, when and where? And like, he was in. There he is. You want to come down here?
So Jason has shot a million things for Rooster Teeth. A million.
A million.
Actually, it's not even a stretch of the truth. Jason seems like he just pops up everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Soon to be 2 million.
Yeah.
Where were we getting at with this? Yeah, so we shot that body bag episode as a test and put it together. We didn't think we'd gotten anything after we shot it. We're like, God, I think we talked to some people and maybe did something, and then.
I know. What were your thoughts on that day?
It was almost a year ago that we shot that, and I had just gotten back from being out of the country. I was really tired, and I was just like, what, you guys want to do something? Sure, let's do it. And, as soon as Aaron, because Aaron went first, as soon as he started dragging Chris down the street in a body bag, we realized how heavy Chris was and how, we were supposed to do this for an hour, and we were like, we can't even make it down the street in an hour.
Yeah.
It took me, I want to say, 30 or 40 minutes to get you 4 blocks.
No,
Partly because I was being accosted and by a good Samaritan, George. I don't know if you guys saw him, but
And so Aaron decided, well, I'll just get on the bus. But no, it's definitely one of those things where we didn't really know how it would turn out.
All I know is, it's good to know in Austin, Texas, that if you drag someone down the street in a body bag, the police will show up in less than 5 minutes, but then they'll be totally cool with it.
Funny thing about George, the construction worker, that construction was going on outside your house for months after.
right, and I'd run into him after, and it was after we'd shot, and I'd actually say, "Hey, George," and he'd look at me and go, "He got away with it." It was like. George, to this day, he doesn't know where the body is, what happened to it, but he knows I got away with it.
But he's very friendly.
He's very friendly.
He's very friendly because he knows, don't mess with this guy.
Don't mess. Yeah.
You want another question?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so one of my favorite parts of the show that you guys have taken upon yourself is how uncomfortable you make yourselves during these things. Like you guys cringe while you pitch ideas to each other of horrible things you're going to do to each other, knowing that you actually have to follow through with it eventually. What, out of all you've done so far, has been the most uncomfortable you have felt during filming?
Man, there's
There's a thing that we filmed that we can't talk about yet that I've never seen Aaron more broken. I can't. Jason was there.
Jason was there.
Man, I mean, we'll see if Aaron wants to really publicly embarrass himself, because this is.
I mean, I do.
Yeah.
But it was pretty rough. It involved people I knew.
It was a personal social
sort
disorder. So it was not messing with.
Bridges are being burned. By
Atomic
the dozens.
bombs is more like it. That was definitely the hardest. I wish I could go into more details, but you guys will see in the coming weeks just exactly what we're talking. And as soon as when the episode is announced, you'll know it was the episode. Absolutely, without a doubt.
Well, that's a difficulty you guys have with the show, is that because of the extreme nature of the show, even the extreme nature of the first episode you guys had, whether it was the pilot, is that in order to maintain the show, you have to keep one-upping yourself, which means if you did something this insane, the next thing needs to be this insane. And so all the stuff you guys have done for like season 2 so far, it's like, yeah, you're on track.
Well, you know what's funny is, and it's good that John is up here. So John is a lot of times a mediator in between Chris and I because we don't tell each other.
It's like a relationship problem.
Yeah.
Aaron has been
Chris,
mean to
Chris,
me.
Chris, use your words.
Yeah.
Okay.
Abusive
No,
is
so
what you're
it's
gonna
kind of the creative process for the way the show works.
Yeah,
Is
I mean, we really don't know what the other one's going to do. We might sometimes get an idea, but once we, decide on like I decide on a concept, I'll give it to like John or something. Be like, John, what do you think about this? Is Chris doing something similar? And John will be like, oh man, no, he's not doing something similar, but you both are in for it, Like,
yeah, I mean, it's a thing where we'll look at events and say, oh, there's an event that we could maybe attend.
oh yeah.
Or yeah, it's just we'll just.
Well,
try
yeah.
to-
What you're talking about is that there's always stuff going on in Austin. I mean, you guys had the yogurt festival or whatever that was.
Gelato Festival.
Gelato
Festival
Festival.
and the body bag episode.
That was just luck. I mean, I was on the bus and I was like, man, that
Right,
was
but any
good.
opportunity you guys have where there's going to be a crowding of people
Right.
is to your advantage.
Right.
Yeah.
Except when we set it up like speed dating or something like that, where we set up a real speed dating event and
there were real people doing real speed dating.
I mean, people really matched up, and I mean, we took the time to actually match people up that were matched up, and were
We like
legitimate.
to think that someday, there will be children because of that episode.
Yeah.
And they will be named Chris Aaron or Aaron Chris.
Chris Aaron.
I know an answer to this one. But, so, yeah, you guys are talking about you guys pitch ideas constantly, and you guys have like a list of things. Has there been any idea you guys have had that you felt like went too far?
Yes.
Yeah.
Was that idea ever shot or shown?
Yes. No.
There's sometimes things where we'll film it and then either in editing decide, well, that might be a little too much.
Or we'll see the raw footage, and Chris will be like, "No, I can't. This is I can't. Too embarrassing." Or
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, the important thing is it's always on us. It's never like, "Oh man, we did something so bad to someone else." It's always like, "Oh, I can't handle the shame."
Yeah.
It's also a mixture of whether it's funny or not, right?
Right. I mean, some things fall flat. It goes into another aspect of this is you can plan all you want, but in the end, you're improvising with people who don't know they're improvising, and it's an added level. Where, when we write narrative and stuff like that, you know what you're going into. You have a script and all of that, but when you do this and plan this, there's still that element of like, are people going to be there, or
Are people going to show up, or are they going to react the way we think they're going to react, or completely different? And there's no way of planning. You just have to prepare as best, right?
Yeah, when we have time to prepare. I mean, it's usually like, these guys, we try to go over their cards or their slides, and we try to, because I need to read them. I need to know what you're actually doing. And Chris is always very protective of his slides until the last minute. And then he's like, I guess I'll let you know what we're shooting today.
Well,
Yeah.
Jason needs to know. So, like, if Chris is going to go wander around a expo floor or something like that, he needs to know when he's going to do that, when he's going to make an ass of himself. He needs to know that exact slide.
Yeah.
And so,
But
yeah.
I mean, it's great. I'll have to say this about season 2 is like, a year ago we didn't know what we were doing. And now we're like, hey, that was really fun. How about we make it even worse for each other? And it's turning out to be, just really fun. And I think you guys will like it a lot. And it's definitely, we've made it a lot more interactive with you guys, which is also nice.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
Yeah, one thing that we really, really liked about like the body bag episode and the speed dating episode is we were both in the same environment at the same time and could theoretically interact with each other in some way.
So this season we're going to be interacting with each other more in the same scenario. So for speed dating, Chris and I were in the same room, but it was kind of you could tell at once, but it wasn't really a big structural thing in it. We weren't. even though we were in the same room, we weren't messing with each other, which was kind of
there's a little of that.
a little bit, but it was there could have been more, and so
Well, there was actually a good interaction that we had from a deleted scene.
yeah, we would you guys want to see some deleted scenes from Speed Daddy?
So, like any show, there's always stuff that you have to cut for time, or just because it's really awkward. This is really awkward, so prepare yourself.
Nah.
Yeah, so this is a couple deleted dates from the speed dating. If you guys.
That poor woman.
Extremely.
No, so you and the girl that you did the British accent with. That was the same girl.
That
you
was,
ran into her.
Yeah, the girl that
She was a friend of a friend.
Chris asked for the hair from. I was at a bar a couple weeks later. It was actually for like a Rooster Teeth type thing. And I was sitting at the bar, and I look up, and this girl's looking at me like that. And I was like, oh, no. And so she comes up, and she was like, I thought you were going back to London or something like that. And I was like, all right, listen, the jig was up. And I explained, and then she watched it, and she thought it was amazing. She was like, well, I mean, she said my British accent was really shitty, which it was. It was. But, I mean, that happens where more and more where we see people who, have been involved in our shenanigans. Austin is a big city and a very small city. And, I mean, have you... Oh.
Yeah.
So, the night before the Body Bag episode was going to premiere, Chris and I go to a bar. And, Chris was already at the bar. I was going to meet him.
We were waiting for like a birthday or I don't know.
You were waiting for a birthday. So
It's my birthday.
It was your birthday.
Oh, yeah.
John, this isn't about
Nothing
you.
important.
I showed up to my birthday party, and you guys had this story.
Anyway, it was at some guy's birthday party. And I walk into the bar, and Chris is talking to these two girls. And he's just, it's idle chit-chat at the bar. And I walk up to them and I'm like, man, I've seen them before, but I don't know where I've seen them. And Chris is like talking to him, and then I go sit at a table with whoever's birthday we were celebrating. And Chris comes and sits down and is like, man, I was talking to these two girls. I feel like I've seen them before. And I looked at him and was like, Chris, you have seen them before. I know where you've seen them before. And he was like, where? I was like, I'll give you two guesses, but you'll need one. And it's something that's premiering tomorrow that you've seen them in. And you guys, in the Body Bag episode, do you remember Chris asking for a girl's number? But she was vegetarian, so she couldn't bring a bag of meat or something or whatever. It was those two girls, and they were at the bar. And once we realized, Chris was like, I should go up and say hello to him. I was like, whoa, hold on. The last time they saw you, you were dragging a body bag to the river, and they went the other way. Do you really think you should go up there? And Chris was like, yeah, I'll go up there. And but then you talk to them and explain the...
Yeah, and they're like, we want to see it. We want to see it.
Yeah. But, I mean, that happens more and more often.
And you've been together ever since, right?
Yes. Got the number.
Well, jumping off of that, of you guys getting noticed a lot more often, I'll go to this one. This is actually from the internet. Do you guys have any other cities that you have planned or want to go to?
We've talked about it. We don't have anything definitive yet, but it's something
there's actually been serious talk about it, but we can't say anything about it. But yes, it's on the table as far as doing it somewhere else. But.
Dream City.
USA.
That's not...
You were asking Dream City,
Yeah,
John?
that's what I'm asking. Thank you, Aaron.
Round Rock.
Buda.
These are local jokes, sorry. Great
What-
cities.
What other employees you guys have worked with or are going to work with in the future or want to?
We've talked about doing some like crossover stuff. We don't have anything solidified. It's just it's something we'd like to do if we find the right concept.
I like to do some stuff with the Funhouse guys, like with James. Because James is just so weird and so good at improvising that I think he would just eat that up. And yeah, I think it'd be a lot of fun.
If you guys could like pick one celebrity to collaborate with, who would you do with?
Alive or dead?
Let's just, for the hell of it, go live.
Ah. Okay.
Bill Murray. There'd be some really cool stuff with Bill Murray.
He's like made for your show.
I would
Yeah.
say Bill Murray, but everyone is just, they're so happy to see him fuck with them that I don't know if it
then
would
there's
actually
so
work.
much opportunity to shit on them with that.
You almost have to go with someone that no one would ever expect. Like, man, I don't know. So like someone that's classic for being the serious person. Almost like maybe Rob. I mean, that's true. Or like did you say Meryl Streep?
That would be pretty
Sure.
good.
Yeah. Do speed dating.
So
with
if
Meryl
anyone
Streep.
has the contact info for Meryl Streep.
Yeah. She's not doing anything right now, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Carrot Top.
Absolutely not. All right, moving on. Someone said Pocahontas. What?
You guys, we
still
obviously
alive,
saw in the first episode that you had the police called on you.
Oh yeah.
Any other times you've had the police up in your business?
Well, we did an episode that involved a garage sale that, from memory, I think a cop showed up.
How'd that go?
It went well, actually. He was very nice.
That was probably the most nervous I was during the first season.
What, when the cop showed
When
up?
the cop showed up. 'Cause
For me, you were nervous?
Yeah. Yeah.
You were hidden behind in the garage
But
or something.
at that moment, I was about to run out naked.
Oh, I forgot about that. Chris.
I forgot that.
Well, here's the thing with that episode is Chris had this great idea because I had the serial killer garage sale, and Chris had this bright idea he was going to run out covered in blood and like in
Tied up.
handcuffs or something or tied up, and he was on walkies or something like that, and he's all ready. He's ready. Literally ready to run out of the garage door, and he messages.
Blaine. I messaged Blaine. I was like, hey, are there a lot of people out there right now? And he goes, yeah, there's a whole lot, like 8 or something. And I was like, cool. And I was like, about to open the door, and he says, one of them's a cop. And I was like, good to know. Thank you.
So that cop. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember the episode, but he had to have been 6'9" or 6'10". I mean, you see him next to me, and I'm like 6 feet tall or so. I mean, you saw how he was like that. I mean, that's what I was looking. I was looking at an eclipse. He was just like everything. He took up the whole sky, and I was like, I don't know what I would do if you ran out. And he was like, time to take him out.
And was that your house?
No, it was a friend's house.
Are they still a friend?
No, they are. They actually work at the company. I'm sure they're being watched right now by APD for whatever we were doing there.
Okay.
Next question, John.
Which episode was the hardest to accomplish?
Good one.
The limo.
Yeah, for reasons, the limo one.
It was so hot in that limo.
Yeah.
I don't know if that came across on screen. There was no AC. We were doing it.
That limo was very old and very broken. Like, it just kept overheating. But it was probably 110 or 120 inside the actual interior. So our cameras would stop working a lot of times because they get so hot. And the people we were giving the tour to were miserable. And they were...
And we're like, here, have some more boxed wine.
More boxed wine. It's warm boxed wine. Yeah, that one was pretty tough. I want to say, because it was the first one. Well, no. I'll say this: the prisoner escape one I was kind of nerve-wracked about because, I mean, not so much you because you were dragging that door around. I was like, he'll be fine. But me,
It was very heavy. I don't know if you guys went to the RTX experience booth and lifted it. It's incredibly heavy.
I mean, it's 80 pounds, 100 pounds,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah. I wasn't so much worried about Chris. I was worried about me having my hands handcuffed behind my back and wearing prisoner khakis because there's nothing I could do if someone was like, "Let's get him," and then,
you would have face planted. If someone had tackled you, you couldn't like break.
Yeah,
the
there's
fall.
no bracing. My face would brace.
Yeah.
Fall. Yeah, that one was kind of tough.
Do you guys have like a planning process that you go through for episodes? I know you talked about how at one point you'll throw ideas to certain people, but what's from start to finish?
Well, I mean, once we decide on the concept that we're gonna do, then we'll both split up and kind of brainstorm and we'll try. have a theme.
Yeah.
We'll each have like, so it's not just random jokes. We'll each have like a theme, and we'll check with moderators like John, and be like, hey, here's my ideas, blah 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 blah. How does it like complement Aaron's? Is there overlap? Are we doing the same jokes, or are they different? I mean,
It's a way for you to buffer so that you guys don't do the same thing, but don't give it away to each other.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. I mean, you've been in that process. So what do you?
I've been in a process where you have pitched me something, and I said, you can't do that. And you guys have done it.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really like it's getting the theme down, and then what we're doing, I feel like better this season. There's going to be another season, by the way. I don't know if we actually said that, but I think everyone kind of has figured
Figured it
by
out,
now.
yeah.
But, thank you. We're doing a better job of escalation as far as, like, you start here, and then you build up and build up and build up until Chris, cries uncle or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of and we send stuff to Jason too, and Jason will go, you could be more cruel if you wanted, and then we're like, all right, we'll add a little something else. And
I mean, it's nice to see the different jokes that you guys play on each other, because you do come from a very different background. And Chris is like, the things that he does to Aaron, like, I'm just like, I can't even believe that you're asking him to do this. In the clip that we're going to show coming up, there's several things where I was just like, I think you need to rewrite this. Like, I think you can go a little easier on Aaron. And you're just like, no, he'll be fine.
well, speaking of clip, do you guys want to see a little sneak peek of the second season of Social Disorder? So I don't know if you guys ever follow Reddit or Google reviews. Chris and I wanted to, try out teaching yoga, just as a side thing.
You guys are very healthy-minded.
Yeah, we're health-minded. Yeah. And we basically became yoga instructors for a day.
And so the way this worked is we each wrote each other's lesson plan.
Right.
And came up with each other's costumes and outfits.
And then we hosted yoga classes at a real yoga studio. And what's going to follow is the results of all
so
that planning.
if you're watching on the stream, we're not going to stream this, but we'll be back soon. And if you're in the audience, please don't film or put this up anywhere. Keep your phones in your butt.
Good job, Chris.
Whatever. But yeah, so let's go ahead and.
So how's your new place? Is it nice?
What do you guys think? You want to see a whole season of that? All right, you guys got to do it.
That was quite the thing, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, Aaron, what were you most surprised in your yoga session?
What was I most... I mean, the mayonnaise was... And that was like an industrial-sized thing of mayonnaise. And I was not expecting that at all. I going into it, I figured so you can't keep everything a secret. And I kind of guessed that you were going to have me be like a mystic type, but that's all I knew. But it didn't matter that I knew that, because I was smothering myself with mayonnaise and oil and whatever else you could, get in that box or whatever it was. But
You guys actually filmed that in the morning.
Oh,
yeah, it
You
was
were
early.
drunk off your mind.
Threw up. And there was a moment when I was like burping and I was going, that I was like, don't throw up, just hold it in.
And afterwards, Chris was like, I should have thrown up. And he kept talking about it all day. He's like, Aaron, why didn't I throw up? Why didn't I throw up? I was like, because you're a human and you shouldn't do that. You know,
like, it would have been funny if I had actually, because I was like trying really hard not to throw up. Because it was 9 a.m. and I was chugging beer and I didn't know, I wasn't expecting that. And I got 5 hours of sleep.
Right. It was pretty funny because I shot mine after Chris's and he was drunk, you see him on his mat, and he's just like, yeah, I'll do whatever. I don't care.
And you guys, that was like a full keg you bought.
Oh, yeah, that's a full keg.
Yeah.
We took it to his apartment later.
Yeah, we finished it off later.
Yeah.
We're like,
You
all
were
right.
drunk all day that day.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, it was
We're
nice.
like, all right, what's everyone doing afterwards? Let's go to my place and drink.
It's 11 in the morning. Let's go drink this keg.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. What do you think, Jason, when you were filming it? I didn't even.
I mean, the mayonnaise was the thing that when I read Chris's slides, I was like, come on. Like, you're going to make Aaron do this? And then I didn't think about it. But that mayonnaise, it goes bad. So it was kept in the refrigerator all night. And then we basically just handed it to Aaron. So he was covering himself in freezing mayonnaise.
Yeah, and I smell like it all day, too. That was pretty rough. And I still do.
I hear it's good for the skin.
No, it's energy comes out into it.
But the cracking, there's nothing like being in a yoga class where everything's silent. And then you just hear the crack of a beer. And people just, especially because Chris like, this helped me not party anymore, guys. Like, I recovered. And then just less than 30 seconds later, just chugging.
I didn't know what I was going to do. So the opening card that I got was, you're recovering alcoholic, blah, blah, blah. Here's what I have to say. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to say
a recovering party boy.
Recovering party boy,
That's what it was. And I knew that the sounds would be the funny thing, but I couldn't. I nearly lost it when Chris got out the shaker, because we kind of shortened it, but I had him mix a drink there. Like there was tequila and all this other stuff and ice. And so you hear all this, he had us resting, with our eyes closed, and you hear this like clinking and then ice being poured into a shaker and then him stumbling and spilling stuff. And then people started like looking out like that, like seeing what he was doing. And then he's like,
I mean, I enjoy a drink or two, but at 9 a.m. in the morning,
it's pretty rough.
It's very different.
Well, I enjoy mayonnaise, but not, there was a Reddit thread on it that I was going to read some excerpts from. This is from the Austin Reddit thread.
Talk them through what happened with the whole Reddit thread.
My phone just turned off, but while it's turning back on, so Chris went first. He went at 9 in the morning, and you can actually see in the edit there are a few people that leave, and there's one person 10 minutes later on the Austin Reddit thread was like, listen, there's a free yoga class going on, and they give you free snacks, and you get free coconut water, and it's close to my house, and it's free, and blah, 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 but it's a scam, absolute scam. The guy started drinking beer in the middle of the class, said how he had reformed as a partier, but that's obviously not the case. He was mixing drinks and doing, and all this other stuff. And we read it as we were about to shoot mine. Right, and we're like, "Oh man, this is not good." And you pull it up.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now. But it was funny because other people from the class were posting, and it's like, "Dude, you should have stuck around."
He did a keg stand, man.
It's like it was awesome.
And then here's the funny thing: the guy who did that post, the angry guy, he read the Chris did a keg stand or whatever, and he goes, "I guess that's kind of like yoga," is what he commented. Like, what are you so mad about, man? It was pretty funny, though, because even the people that stayed in your class were like, what was going on?
It was funny because by the end of it, like, people were like, when is this going up on YouTube?
Yeah, when is this going? What is this?
It's like, I want to see it. Let me know.
Yeah.
And can I have a beer?
Yeah, can I have a beer? Some of your keg.
You got comments?
Oh, yeah, well, we pretty much covered it. I was going to actually read.
I'm just glad that it didn't stop anyone from coming to the next class.
There were people that were commenting on Reddit. They were like, "Wait, there's an 11 o'clock class?
11.
Can I come?"
Yeah.
I'm on my way right now.
Some said I'm on my way, and they were in my class. But it was a lot of fun. I mean, that's kind of a running thing. The whole point of the show, like I said before, is making fun of each other, right? And I'd say 99% of the time, the people who are involved in the situations, they come up later and like, what was this? Blah, blah. It's never like, damn it, blah blah blah, and getting angry. And that's the whole point. It's like they had fun. I mean, even at your yoga thing, I mean, they just watch you drink beer. It
was. And what I was amazed. Well, we can't. I don't want to spoil too much of the ending for people who didn't see it on the stream, but yeah, a lot of people will stick through stuff because they're like, I want to see what it's like watching a car crash.
Yeah, it's like,
oh my god.
Yeah, I need to see what this guy's gonna do. And that's what some people did.
There was one girl in Aaron's class that she went over and she went to her boyfriend and she was like, we should leave. We should get out of here. And the boyfriend looked around. He was like, absolutely not. I got to see what happens next.
Yeah. And also in my class, in the very beginning, there was, before I'd even really started, I was just meditating on the mat. A woman comes in, she sets her mat down, and she takes a look at me and goes, and she rolls the mat back up and starts leaving. And when she goes outside, the producers they were acting as the people signing in, she goes, hey, I didn't know you guys were shooting a social disorder. I just want to say, I hope I didn't mess up anything. Good luck. I'll see you guys later. And we're like, all right. So it was nice. Like, it was, she's really kind for that. I mean, she just totally just very kindly did it. And,
And Aaron tried. He was like, no, you don't have to
I was
leave.
like, no, you can stay. And she's like, no. She didn't want to interrupt anything.
Yeah.
She said, but,
So we got about
you get some questions?
10 minutes
You got
left.
mics up. There's mics up on each in aisle, and so they can go back and forth. So.
And we have some
Swag.
some
swag.
shirts. So you guys bought all the social disorder shirts at the store.
Thank you very much.
So thank
for
you guys
that.
so much. But what we do have are some RTX shirts,
Yeah.
and we'll go ahead and sign them too.
Yeah.
So
Do we have pens?
yeah.
While you guys are doing that, why don't we start over here with this guy?
All right.
All right, so I guess my question, I have two. The first one is there really any problem with having there be a camera in the room with a lot of these? And then the other part that I was going to ask about, exactly how much of a problem do you foresee just law enforcement being in the future?
Well, I'll answer the first one. I'll let Chris sign. The cameras in the room, there's usually not, there's only been a couple instances. Speed dating was one, and then, this yoga one, obviously. But, people film things so often nowadays. We said, we're filming it for our YouTube channel. We're filming our yoga class. And, I mean, people, they're so used to just having their cameras everywhere that, they don't, they don't really mind. Speed dating was the same thing. We're like, hey, we're going to be filming this for our YouTube channel. People are like, awesome, and that's speed dating. But they're just excited to be a part of it. So it's not really a problem. The law enforcement thing, we're actually pretty careful about that, to be honest. We usually, so for instance, with the prisoner escape, we told APD, we're like, listen, we got to tell you guys something. We're production company.
Please don't shoot us.
Don't shoot us. We're going to be doing this along this route at this time, blah, blah, blah. And APD goes, okay, cool, sounds good. And we're like, what? So when Chris was dragging that car door, we were right outside the APD headquarters. He starts dragging it. Not 10 seconds later, an officer goes, hey, where'd you get that door from? Where'd you get that door from? Like Chris had just ripped a door off a cruiser. And Chris is like, call dispatch, they know what's going on. And the officer did, and he goes, all right, go ahead. And Chris just went back to dragging it down. So we're careful about that.
I think, if anything, social disorder is an example of, as long as you tell the police you're going to do something beforehand, you could really get away with a
you
lot.
get away anything. Hey, at this bank, we're going to do, a little thing. It's just a sketch, and money may come out of it. Don't worry about it. All right, sounds good. So but we are careful. We actually are.
And the Austin Police Department they're really nice people. They're really, they're just friendly.
Austin's a cool town. It really is. I don't know, you guys are here. You tell me, but it's a lot of fun, and it's a very open-minded town. And you say, hey, we're a couple of dorks just shooting some videos, and they're pretty understanding as long as we don't do anything stupid.
And when they found Chris shirtless in the body bag, they thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, they thought it was. They legitimately thought it was funny. But
They just asked him to put his shirt on, but that was they didn't ask us to stop.
Which
so.
is
Well, you weren't breaking any
understandable.
laws.
Yeah.
You were live.
Yeah. So next question.
Hi. Quickly, John, can I get an autograph after the panel? And
Sure.
all right, thanks. And if legality weren't an issue, what would be your dream sketch to do?
Murder.
I guess John pretty much answered it. I don't know. Because
Actually, I think a bank heist would be awesome.
a what?
A bank heist. A bank heist.
A bake heist.
Okay, you know where you go get your money called a bank?
Oh, a bank heist. I thought this guy was talking about stealing cookies.
I thought a bake heist sounded awesome too. I was like, I love cookies.
We're going to go into Chips Ahoy, and we're going to take everything. A bank heist would be funny if it weren't so really illegal. I mean, there's some things that I don't know if we'd ever do it, but there's certain things that are legal in other states that aren't legal here that would be funny to mess around with, and I won't go into too much detail on that. But, yeah, I don't know. Illegal stuff, it just depends.
I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to say without specifics.
It's not so much the legality that I think makes your guys' show what it is. It's the taboo of the social norm of what you're doing.
Yeah,
you go against your instinct in this show.
You want to talk about the call of the void type thing?
Oh, the call of the void, l'appel du vide, or I butchered the French. Where's Barbara? Yeah, there's this thing called the call of the void where, you know, when you guys are on a ledge of a high place and you're like, man, I could jump right now, but there's a voice inside of you, or that's the voice that says that, but your rationality goes, no, don't do that. That's awful. Or you're like, I could just shout something in this quiet room right now. But you don't because, you know, this rational voice says, don't do that. The call of the void is that little devil on the shoulder, right? So you have to ignore that when you're doing this show, is what you're getting at, right?
Yeah, you have to just...
It's like, man, I really shouldn't slather myself in mayonnaise in front of these people.
Yeah.
But you do it, and it's so...
Or
like
I really
you're
shouldn't
throwing up.
ask this girl for a lock of hair.
Yeah. Or the throwing up thing. You were so bent out of shape about not having thrown up. And it's like, Chris, that was a rational thing to not throw up. And you just wouldn't accept that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is. You kind of have to, like, push yourself beyond whatever your however old you are, that many years of social teaching, you know?
Social normalcy, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Next.
Oh, and if you guys who've asked questions want to come up and
Come and get a shirt. So, yes, I've already signed something for you.
Right now? How did you come up with the name of social disorder?
So we weren't sure of a name for a while. I think we'd filmed the body bag episode, and we were trying to figure out a name for it. And initially, I had pitched to Aaron. I was like, "What about social anxiety?" Because there's a lot of anxiety involved in the show.
And then I just said, well, why not social disorder? And we're like, all right, whatever, that sounds good. And that was...
Yeah, so that's...
It was really easy, and it just sounded good. And then we found out there was a band called Social Distortion. And so, yeah, I mean, I think I kind of knew there was a band called
There's
Social
a lot of people
Distortion.
who are like, "I love your show, Social Distortion."
Yeah.
And we're like, "Rock on."
Cool. Next. You can come up and get a shirt. Go for it.
Okay. Has anybody ever gotten mad for being in one of your videos? And kind of along the same lines, have you ever gotten permission from people to be in the videos? Like after you filmed it, said, "Oh, we did something. Let's get your permission to be on our YouTube channel."
Yeah, so a
Was
good
the first thing
example...
you said, was Zach?
No, people
Sorry.
mad.
Anybody
So
got-
like in the
anybody got
limo
mad?
tour, like the people who were in my limo and went on like a very long, very hot, sweaty ride, they were, you know, we told them afterwards and they thought it was hilarious. They're like, "What? This is awesome. We're going to be on a show." And, you know, like they're just nice people.
And, I mean, it was free bagged wine, too, so they'd had a pretty good time. But, I mean, Chris was, I mean, you were super nice to that.
Yeah,
And that,
I mean-
that helps.
I think, I mean, people, you go through life, you like having stories. You like having little weird, like this one time I was doing this and this guy was doing this. And people like having those little stories and having those little experiences. So most people are...
It's fun to make them with them, you know?
And most people are like, they think it's like, wow, okay, this is a weird thing. I've never seen this before, so they're pretty cool.
Yeah.
Whenever you're doing all of these like crazy things and it's just all this ridiculous stuff, do you worry that one day you're going to become completely desensitized to it and someone's going to say something really messed up and you're like, nah, it's nothing. Wait, why do I think that's normal?
I mean, what I'll say to that is it's made each of us, I know it's helped with our public, not speaking, but ability to, I don't know, it takes a lot more to fluster us maybe now. Not, it's just, once you are wearing a little nude suit in front of a yoga class, eating peppers, where do you go from there, I mean, no, it has helped with just, what is the word I'm looking for? It's not confidence, it's just, I don't know, it makes you more comfortable. It doesn't make you weird.
It makes you
maybe Chris,
more comfortable being embarrassed,
right?
Which gives you a little more bravery.
Right, bravery is right. Not to do anything crazy, but just like life is short, and say something bold, and that's kind of
I mean,
I think
it's like, just have fun.
Yeah, have fun.
Do some weird stuff.
Make memories. Get a limo.
But these guys do feel awful after we film an episode because they're like, I had to say this to someone, and I was cringing and dying inside. So
stuff about ourselves that we're like,
yeah.
Again, it goes to that episode that you guys will see soon. That's like, oh, I had to do what, But it's still fun though at the end of the day. So.
All right, we got only a couple minutes left, but I think we can go a little bit longer unless told otherwise.
Okay.
But you can come up to the Guardian over here who's got a shirt for you. We'll just get through a few more of these real quick.
We'll do real quick.
All right, my question was, what is each of your favorite episodes to shoot?
My favorite, I think, was the garage sale.
It's mine too. Actually.
That one was a lot of fun to plan, having so many little items to stock an entire garage sale with.
I love making all that friend stuff.
The office was starting to look really weird.
Yeah, because Chris and I had to hide stuff from, well, we still do, we hide stuff from each other when we're going to shoot these things. And I had, in a corner of the office, all of this friend stuff, like cutouts and pictures and all this stuff. And like an intern or something would stumble upon it and be like, what's going on? What is this? And man, it was a lot of fun making all the set design stuff for that.
Yeah. And then even just like planning the garage sale, like the morning of, you're like, okay, this goes here, this goes here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're still being a salesman with it. You're like, oh, I'm going to make money today, Yeah.
Thanks.
And what are your parents, family members, and friends that are not involved with the company and the show think of all of the shenanigans that, like, once they see the video, they're like, you did what?
They totally expect it. They totally knew it. They knew from the beginning. They're like, this is what you're going to do.
They disowned me a long time ago.
My grandma... I'm losing my voice.
Welcome to Social Disorder.
I love social disorder. My grandma loves it, and that's... A lot of people's grandmas love it, and moms love it, and parents love it, and that's pretty cool.
My grandmother really liked
Chris's grandma told me yesterday how much she loves me. She said... What did she say? She said, if I were 19, you wouldn't stand a chance. And I said, ma'am, I take that as a compliment. And then I said, Chris, I'm going to be your step-grandpa. Next question.
With the one we just saw, there were like puns and everything. Who comes up with those?
You say puns?
Yeah,
like the points.
GYN and the beer. Try not to spoil.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We came up with the puns, actually.
Yeah, after we have the episode edited, we'll sit down and just like watch it and sit and be like, oh, what would be a funny little joke here?
Yeah.
And then sometimes we'll get help from people like...
From other sources.
People who are good at puns.
Yeah. Unnamed people who are good at puns. Yeah. Thank you.
When you guys were coming up with concepts for this past season, was there something that you guys came up with and then it didn't actually make it to an episode, but you really wish it had?
Yeah, there's one concept that we almost did in the first season, and we're still considering for the second season, but if not, then we might just sit on it. It's.
I don't know what he's talking about, but what is it? Oh yeah. That one's a good one.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
Sort of, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Go for it.
Okay. Chris.
What's up?
On the Murder at RTX, you said that if I ever wanted a hug from you, I could get it.
Yeah.
Can I get a hug right now?
Afterwards.
How about after? We'll let
Right
people
after the panel,
ask some
yeah.
questions, and then after.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
And it'll
Thank
be
you.
just as good as you think.
Hey, we're all out of shirts. Sorry. Sorry. I know.
But you get a hug.
Yeah.
Oh, Chris, out of all the Friends cast, how many restraining orders do you have?
Not enough.
Yeah, pretty much. I was really sad though that no one from Friends
Retweeted you?
Yeah,
Or
I was
something?
like, yeah, I was hoping that someone in the cast of Friends would see it, but I don't know if they have. So maybe tweet at the cast of Friends
Yeah,
and let
if
them
you
make
guys
sure
can
they've
get
seen
that
it.
ball rolling, that'd be
Yeah.
great. Thank you.
If you saw someone dragging a body bag downtown, what would you do?
Arrest them immediately.
I'd take a picture.
I say, what are you guys filming? I don't know. I mean, I guess that's the whole point of the
I
show.
would probably look around for cameras.
Yeah. I'd look around for us and see. I don't know. Well, sometimes people ask us, like, well, what would you do in that situation? And sometimes I don't know. Like, again, going back to that life is short thing, well, that's a little bit of a different one. You'd go up and be like, hey, what's going on here? Let me make sure that nothing crazy is
Yeah.
going on. And then, then you move along once they say, oh, everything's fine. So, yeah.
I think you guys are bad people to ask that to because you guys are screwed up.
I know. Yeah. I don't know what we do.
Can I get a hug too?
Yes, there's a hug queue, and we will fulfill it.
Thank you.
Next.
Okay, so two things real quick. One, can we ever expect to see like a social disorder DVD with, say, like director's cuts on it?
It's possible.
It's possible. We don't. Yeah, maybe. There's definitely a lot of stuff that doesn't make it into the edit.
Yeah.
Like we just those were some dates that we had that were already they were in the edit until the final couple days.
Right.
And that happens on every episode. It's just stuff like cut. So
that's possible.
And then I heard apparently there was something about an unaired season 1 episode on a bridge.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know. Never saw that one. Thank you.
No. Go for it, dude.
If budget wasn't an issue, what would you do?
If what?
If you had unlimited budget to organize something.
I think we do a bake heist.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah. Get right in there, get those desserts, and get out. Use helicopters. Use all the money we could.
If you guys could do any money, I'd love to see what you guys could do with like a Zeppelin.
Ooh, man, I love a Zeppelin.
Yeah, something with robots.
Robots.
I
We
like
parachute
robots.
from a Zeppelin with robots strapped to ourselves
Into a bakery.
Into a bakery. Yeah.
Next.
What sort of deliberation goes into deciding who wins? Like, if I remember right, the speed dating episode, it was kind of close.
Yeah, a lot of times we'll check and see what other people. In season 1, we check with other people. Say, who do you think should win this? Like, unbiased.
It helps to have an objective, but at the end of the day, it's it is really close, and they try to win, even though that means sacrificing themselves, every time. So
It's like one of those dumb shows where the points don't matter. Next.
Will you guys ever have any special guests, like maybe John?
Not
Absolutely
John.
not.
Absolutely not. No. I mean, it's definitely something we've talked about.
We've talked about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It may happen. Yeah, absolutely.
But not John.
Yeah, not John.
It's a little known fact. Like Waldo, every single episode, I'm actually there.
What?
No, I'm not.
We may have time for just one more question. Or
One
two.
more each side?
Yeah, one more
One more
each
each
side.
side. Last question.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry,
Run
guys.
over.
There's one other guy in that line. Got screwed.
Sorry.
If you could have anyone, and I know you said you didn't want anyone to feel like they're getting hurt in one of your pranks, but a little bit of office fun is always enjoyable. I'm one who would say yes to that. If you could have anyone from the RT office know or maybe perhaps not know about what you're doing towards them, who would that be?
I think it'd be everyone in administrative. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't see it coming. We'd go across the parking lot and do something, and they wouldn't know what hit them. And it'd be a lot of fun. I mean, they're all great guys and gals over there, and it would be so fun to just, because they'd be like, what is going on right now? But they'd just be okay. I mean, you know, there are hijinks and stuff usually in the office, but
yeah, and that's in a separate building, so they're a little buffered from it.
A little buffered, so. The accountants and Matt and everyone else, that's kind of
I'm in that goddamn building.
I know, and John's in there. We'd mess him up, too. Yeah.
Last question.
All right, when you need to use a specific business for one of your pranks, how do you sell the idea to that business? Like, and if they say no, how do you change your plans, or how do you remain flexible?
If they said no, we wouldn't do it there. I mean, actually in most of these places we say like what we're going to do, exactly what we're going to do.
Yeah, it's like you're talking about like the bar for the speed date and that kind of thing?
Yeah, like the bar, the
bar totally knew what was going on, and they're like,
I mean,
this
we
sounds
tell
fun.
people like we're shooting a YouTube video, and
Most of these people want us back. Actually, they're like, "That was great.
That was a lot of fun."
Yeah.
But we wouldn't shoot in any place that was like no, and then we're like, well, let's trick them or something. We would never do that. So yeah. Well, anyway, thank you guys for coming out, and thank you for watching. Everyone in here is great. Thank you so much. Watch the season 2.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends.
Tell your enemies.
Tell your mom. Tell Chris's grandma. Thank you so
and
much.
We hope you have, or I guess there's a couple more hours left of RTX, but we hope you guys had a great time. And
Thank you for the
so
weekend.
much
This is
for
a great
coming out.
weekend.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.